はい、13日やっていきたいと思います。もう一段落かな読もうかなと思います。Chekhov in Siberia, the island at the end of the world. The writer's Chile mission puts the privations of lockdown in perspective. Along the Siberian highway between Tumen and Tomsk, Anton Chekhov stayed the night in a coach driver's cabin. 2 months earlier, a gentlewoman had stopped there with her newborn boy, suspecting that he was illegitimate and childless herself. The driver's wife offered to take him in. The lady left him with the couple while she decided, and then vanished. Was he serious って思うかな。なんやろわかんねえ。serious or not? Please help for God's sake. The driver implored as his wife. Be stopped with the baby. Fled the room in tears. はい、フレッドってよく出ますよね。はい、今日はここまでにします。ありがとうございます。はい、13日読んでいきたいと思います。毎深夜またいだんかな。まあいいや。エコノミスト最新号がね、Amazon で取り扱ってなくて、もうこれ終わりそうなんですけど、次買いたいなーって思ってるけど、買えないという。前のやつ買おうかなって。その最新号じゃないエコノミスト買おうかなみたいな。はい、まあ一段落だけ読みたいと思います。It was May 1890 and Chekhov was on his way to Sakhalin, an island north of Japan, which was then a huge Russian penal colony. For the still crazy, his trip is a consoling reminder of travel's hazard. Chekhov nearly perished in a collision with a mail troika and might have drawn in a flood. Notionally, it was spring, but on the approach to Tomsk there was deep snow, and the terrible rapid rose the oceans of mud, the endless tiger, the maddening mosquitoes. When at last he crossed the Tater Strait to Sakhalin, it was ablaze with forest fires. He felt he was entirely here. はい、今日はここまでにします。コツです。読んでいきたいと思います。Unlike some writers who trekked across Siberia, Chekhov went voluntarily. The journey took almost 3 months and he spent as long again on the island. His aim was to survey the prisoners and publicize their conditions, which make the confinement of lockdown look like paradise. はい、ありがとうございます。15日やっていきたいと思います。On Sakhalin, chains clanked 15日。clanked incessantly and the flogging game. Incessantly. Nightmares. Virtually. Old woman. Virtually. Old woman convicted of plea had been forced into prostitution. Bears scoped salmon from the rivers, but the human food was terrible, and the boozing, the bedbugs like COVID era leaders taking their license taking care licensed stores. Many inmates were able to roam around, but they could never see their loved ones. They made doomed bids to escape, often butchering each other in the process. Despite too close class, the straight and breathe that air of freedom before they die. はい。じゃあ今日はここまでします。ありがとうございます。16日やっていきます。Today, two museums are devoted to Chekhov on Sakhalin, which is dominated by giant energy project. The island left a mark on him, too. It colored his view of authority and redoubled his commitment to describe life as it was. Compassionately, but without illusion, just before he set out his play, the wood demon had flopped. Afterward, he wrote many of his finest stories as well as The Seagull, Three Sisters, and the Cherry Orchard. はい、おつです。18日やっていきたいと思います。はい。Even in Sakhalin Island, his account of the expedition, the artist in Chekhov keeps elbowing aside the social reformer, and amid the demographic details that he amassed a trove of exquisite vignettes. Exquisite vignettes. After confessing to killing her child prisoner, wept bitterly, but then in Britain, Reeves' translation wiped his eyes and asked, "Fancy buying a nice little bit of pickled cabbage?" Despite lashing and stints in a punishment cell, an old con had refused to work. In the end, the guards gave up, and he strolled around singing. Murdered in a bakery, a cruel official fell into the kneading through and stained the stuff with blood. Alas, you never find out what happened to the gentlewoman's baby. うい。はい、今日はここまでにします。お疲れ様です。10月19日読んでいきたいと思います。はい。バイデノミクス。新しいのですね。あと数ページ残ってたけど、もうええかなって思って。はい。まあ一文だけ読んだらいこうかな。The World This Week Politics ね。10月19、ここまで本当。Fighting erupted in and around Nagorno-Karabakh, a disputed enclave inside. 10月19 enclave inside Azerbaijan, mostly populated by ethnic Armenians and backed by Armenia. More than 1,000 people, mostly soldiers, are thought to have been killed. Turkey's President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, Azerbaijan's main supporter, urged his fellow Muslims to wrest back control of the area, whose inhabitants are largely Christian. The fighting was the worst since a ceasefire in 1994. The two countries, which were both subjugated by the Red Army in the 1920s, fought each other after the Soviet Union collapsed. ありがとうございます。11やっていきます。On a trip to Lithuania, France's President Emmanuel Macron visited an exiled opposition leader, Svetlana Tikhanovskaya, who many people believe won the recent presidential election in Belarus, Alexander Lukashenko, the Belarusian dictator who reached the vote. はい、reach. Seems determined to stay in power despite huge protests at home and gesture like Mr. Malcolm. はい、ありがとうございます。お疲れ様です。こんばんは、バッキーです。10月21日、現実は自分で作っていきましょう。はい、やっていきます。エルサルバドールズプレジデントナイブ・ブケレ announced an inquiry into whether inquiry ね。はい。Inquiry into whether El Faro, a digital newspaper, had engaged in money laundering. El Faro recently reported that Mr. Bukele's government secretly asked imprisoned leaders of NS-13, a big criminal gang, to reduce violence in exchange for privilege. A protest broke out across. はい、ここまでにします。おつです。こんばんは、22日やっていきたいと思います。現実は自分で変えていきましょう。はい、10月22日。Protest broke out across Venezuela against power cuts and shortage of fuel and water. Among the demonstrators were teachers demanding higher pay and patients wanting better conditions in hospital. Security forces fired rubber bullets and tear gas. はい。今日はここまでします。ありがとうございます。今日は読めました。簡単な単語でしたね。25日読んでいきたいと思います。Doctors でなくて West Africa's regional bloc ECOWAS said the sanctions will remain in place 24日ね。24 in place against Mali until the leaders of the COP hand power to a civilian administration. The appointment as president of Bafundao, a retired colonel, does not satisfy this demand, it said. はい、あざす。こんばんは、バッキーです。はい、25日。読んでいきます。A French court agreed to extradite. はい。extradite ね。ここね。Failed seeing 株が、Rwandan businessman to face trial in Tanzania on charge that he financed militias that carried out his genocide in Rwanda in 1994. はい、ありがとうございます。はい、26日やっていきます。レバノンズプライムミニスターデジグネイト、ムスタファファアディブ failed to form a government. He had reportedly met resistance from Shia parties who want to control the finance ministry. はい、ありがとうございます。27日やっていきます。エミール・オブ・クウェイト、シェイクン・サバハ・アル・サバかな died after a long illness. He was 91st. The 83-year-old half-brother, Nawafu al-Sabah, has been named as his successor. はい、お疲れ様です。28日いきます。Israel's parliament gave the government the power to ban mass protest, one of a range of measures aimed at curbing the spread of COVID-19. Critics accused the Prime Minister Netanyahu of trying to silence critics who have called on him to resign over his handling of the pandemic and alleged corruption. はい。今日は読めました。ありがとうございます。29日やっていきましょう。The Australian Strategic Policy Institute think said it has identified 3,080 suspected detention centers for ethnic Uyghurs in China's Xinjiang region, about 40% more than previous estimates. It found that building work had been taking place in dozens of them over the past 2 years, despite official claims that all internees had graduated by 2019. はい。おやすみなさい。30日行きましょう。Amnesty International, a human rights watch dog shut its office in India, complaining that the government had made its work impossible by closing its bank account, among other things. はい。次何日 ?11 月31、10月31、11月1日。まあいいや。いいよ、別に。31日かな。はい。やっていきましょう。Police in Pakistan arrested Shehbaz Sharif, the titular leader of the main opposition party and brother of its actual leader, Nawaz Sharif, who is in exile in London. A court had revoked Mr. Sharif's bail on corruption charges. A former president, Asif Zardari, was indicated for corruption in a separate case. The two petitions say the charges are politically motivated. はい、ありがとうございます。11月11日やっていきたいと思います。North Korea unexpectedly apologized for the killing of South Korean fisheries officially intercepted at sea by a North Korean patrol. The victim was shot and his body burned in an apparent effort to prevent the spread of COVID-19. Kim Jong-un, the North's dictator, said he was deeply sorry. はい、北朝鮮の話でした。ありがとうございます。11月2日、読んでいきます。Army Colonel Donald Trump's pick to fill the vacancy on the Supreme Court, left by the death of Ruth Bader Ginsburg, met the Republican leader in the Senate, who hoped to confirm her in the job before the election. A devout Catholic, Miss Barrett has said that abortion is immoral, but also that Catholic judges should not try to align the legal system with their faith. はい。おつです。